Now, you've all seen lots of videos where people propagate plants by just putting them in a jar of water. But it's not necessarily just that simple. If you want to propagate plants in water, you can, and I've done it with roses, rosemary, pyracantha, hydrangeas, buddleias I've done. Lots of plants do propagate well with minimal effort in a jar of water, but that doesn't mean no effort is required. So here are my 3 tips for propagating plants successfully in a jar of water. Actually, before I get onto the 3 tips, we need to talk about the anatomy of the plant. So you basically need a node or several nodes on a stem that is going to go in the water, and then you need some leaves from the stem outside of the water, and it's from the nodes that you're going to get the roots, and that those nodes must be submerged in the water, and the leaves must be out of the water, and the leaves will help keep the plant alive. So that's the basics, and you can apply this and experiment with all sorts of plants. And the good thing about this method is, of course, if you have a lot less space and you don't have a big garden or a greenhouse, you can fit multiple stems in a clean jar of water. That being said, don't overcrowd the water. You do want lots of clean oxygenated water, so you don't want to overcrowd it and risk rotting, etc., which we'll get onto. So once you have your material and you've processed it, these are the 3 things you need to bear in mind when growing roots in a jar of water. So let's get into it. Number 1, you need clean aerated water in a clean jar. This is absolutely fundamental. It's the same as when you put in a vase of flowers, and you need that water to be clean and as sterile as possible, and also aerated. So you want to keep the water aerated. And the way I do that is to just refresh the water every other day. What you don't want is a bacteria buildup in the water, because that is going to rot your stem, and a rotten stem is a dead stem that won't produce any roots. So clean water that's refreshed and aerated. And by the way, that's the same if you're having cut flowers on your windowsill. The way you make them last longer is to keep changing the water, keep it nice and clean. So that's number 1. Number 2, also similar to when you're preparing a flower bouquet for a jar or a vase of water, is to remove much of the foliage that's going to be in the water. So really you just want the stem in the water. So you want to prepare the stem by removing the lower leaves. These will of course rot and create bacteria in the water, turn the water green, and so you want to get rid of those, because again it's back to the same thing with the clean water. You just end up with a rotten stem, and a rotten stem is not going to root. And the third thing you need, and this is the last, this is all you need to think about. The third thing you need is a north-facing windowsill. So I do all my propagating in a jar inside the house where it's warm throughout the winter, so it's not going to get too cold, but also on a north-facing window ledge. So this is a cool, unheated window ledge that does not get any direct sunlight, because we don't want our plants to be drying out, parched, overheated, or any of these things. We just want lots of light and an ambient temperature for them to propagate their roots. So with that being said, it's up to you now to go and try which plants you're going to propagate this way, and let me know in the comments which ones you've had success with. I hope this helps demystify propagation for you. It's not as difficult as people make out, and it can be done really quite successfully in jars of water, providing you follow those 3 steps, those 3 main steps. Hope this helped. If it did, please subscribe, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye.